Okay, so looking at the warm-up. So what we're doing is you're given the slope and a point on the line. So you're going to start off by putting it into point slope, and then from there we're going to convert it into y-intercepts, or the slope intercepts. So if I put this into point slope, what's it going to look like?
Y plus 4.
Good.
4 parentheses x plus 5.
Good.
Good job, Mark.
Because in this place right here, there would be two negatives. There would be the negative and then the minus 4, so that just changed to a positive, and the same thing right here. Now what we want to do from here is convert, so we're going to have y plus 4. Nothing changing there. Then on the right-hand side, what's that going to be? 4x plus 20. And you're going to subtract 4 from both sides. So that zeroes out. That leaves y equals 4x plus 16. Okay? Y equals 4x plus 16. Okay, on number 2, what's that going to look like in point slope?
Y minus 8 equals half parentheses x minus 4.
Okay, good. Then we want to convert that into slope intercept. 1 half x minus 2. Then we add 8 to both sides. Y equals 1 half x plus 6.
Good job, Mark.
Okay, so that's all. I'm going to skip the last two on the warm-up here. What we're doing today is going to be the same thing as this, except we're going to have to find the slope first. Okay? So we're going to be doing the same stuff. It's just that we're going to be given 2 points, and we've got to find the slope. And then from here, it'll be the same thing. Okay? So let's look over here and look at this example right here, example 1. So that's 2 points on the line. So the line goes through 0, 3, and the line goes through -2, -1. And what I want is the equation of the line that goes through those 2 points in slope intercept. So the first thing I want to do is to find slope. So how do we find slope from 2 points like that?
Over x1.
Yep, good. Right here. So what's my x2 value?
-1.
-1 minus what's my y1 value? 3. Over what's my x2 value? -2 minus my x1?
0.
0.
The hero.
And so what does that give you?
-4 over -0.
It's going to be -4 over -2, which means it just goes all the way down to 2. So what is this that we just found? What is this 2? It is the slope. So the slope for this line is 2. And actually I have 2 points on that line. So I can choose either one of these from back up here, okay? And I know it seems weird, but it doesn't matter which of those two I choose. Once I get done with all the work, it's going to look the same at the very end. So I could choose either 0, 3 or -2, -1.
0,
3.
I'm just going to go with 0, 3. That way there's no negatives. Okay? I mean, I could do -2, -1, but I'm just going to go with that one. So now it's the exact same thing as what we just did on our warm-up. I know the slope is 2, and I'm going to use that 0, 3. So what's it going to look like?
Y minus 3.
Y minus 3 equals
2 parentheses x minus 0.
like that. Okay, so again, what I'm doing now is I'm going back and saying, all right, I'm just using this single point on this. Okay? I'm just using that point in the slope of 2, plug it in like this, and now I want to convert it into slope intercept. So y minus 3, and when I distribute on the right-hand side, what do I get?
2x.
2x, and 2 times 0 is 0, so there's no reason to write 0 there. And I'm going to add 3 to both sides.
Y equals 2x plus 3.
Y equals 2x plus 3. And that's it. Now, if you think about that, makes sense, right? Because this 3 right here, what is this positive 3 out here by itself? What is this talking about?
The
Y-intercept, right? The 2 is the what?
slope.
The slope. The 3 is the y-intercept. And if you go and you think about this point 0, 3, If you were to plot that 0, 3 on a graph, that's actually right there on the y-axis. 0, so no left-right movement, just going up 3. So that actually right there is the y-intercept is 3. So they match, so that's good. Okay, example 2. Let's find the slope between these 2 points first. So what's my y2 value?
9. Wait. No.
So negative 4 is my y2 value.
4.
Minus, what's my y1? 4 over what's my x2 value? 9 minus my x1? Negative 7. For what's that going to give me? Negative 8 over 16, which simplifies down to
Negative half.
negative 1/2. Okay? So again, that's my slope,
But you're not done.
right? And what I'm going to do, again, is I'm going to go back and just choose either one of those points. I know that the equation I'm getting a line for goes through both of those points, so I can choose either one. I'm just going to go with the first one, negative 7, 4. So when I put it into point slope, like right here,
Y minus 4 equals negative 1/2. Parentheses x plus 7.
okay? And again, this is a plus 7 right here because I'd be minus a negative 7, so it makes it a plus.
Half x.
Wait, wouldn't the 4 be a plus? Oh, wait, no.
3.5.
So we have negative 1/2 x.
3.5.
Let's leave it as a fraction. What's negative 1/2 times 7?
Oh, shoot, I'm dumb.
No, not as a decimal. What's negative 1/2 times 7 as a fraction?
Negative 7 over 2.
Negative 7 halves.
You don't have to be screaming.
Okay? All right, so the next step is to add 4 to both sides. So that's going to zero out. Okay, now let's think about this for a second.
This would be 4, 7 over 2.
Okay, so let's do it like this, okay? We haven't talked about fractions much, but what I want to do is I want to think about what would 4 be as a fraction with 2 as the denominator.
8 over 2.
Good, it would be 8 over 2, exactly. Right? 4 is the same thing as 8 over 2, correct?
Yes.
I mean, 8 divided by 2 is 4. And the reason I'm doing that is I want this denominator to match up to this denominator.
Then you add them, right?
Okay, yeah, so now, okay, I'm going to erase this 4 right here. And I'm going to put plus 8 halves in its place. So if you have negative 7 halves plus 8 halves, it's going to give you just a positive 1/2.
So we did all that just to get a positive.
Yep. Like that. Okay, or I could have wrote it out here to the side. That may make more sense. I had 8 halves. Negative 7 halves plus 8 halves gives you just a positive 1/2. All right. So I want you to try the same thing on this one right here. Find the slope, put it in a point slope, then convert to slope intercept. Okay, good job. So 3/5 is the slope. Then I just use that first point, negative 2, 4. So y minus 4 equals 3/5 times x plus 2. Distribute, you get 3/5 x, and 3/5 times 2 is 6/5. Add 4 to both sides. 4 is 20/5, and so 6/5 plus 20/5 gives you 26/5. Bless you. Let's flip it over to the back. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing here on number 1. So let's find the slope real quick. So what's the y2 value? 6 minus the y1 of what? 5 over x2. Negative 3 minus x1. So 6 minus 5 over negative 3 minus 4, what is that? Okay. Which, by the way, negative 1 over 7, 1 over negative 7, and negative 1/7
It's the same thing.
is the same thing. Okay? All of those are mean the same thing. You may come to them by different ways, but in the end, it means the same thing. Okay, so that's my slope is negative 1/7. And again, I can choose either of those 2 points. I'm going to go with the 4, 5. So we have y minus 5 equals negative 1/7 times x minus 4. All right, so we get y minus 5, negative 1/7 x, and negative 1/7 times negative 4 is what? It's positive 4 over 7. And I add 5 to both sides. Okay, so let's go ahead and convert this. So 5 as a fraction where 7 is the denominator, what is it?
5 over 7.
It's 35/7. Right, because 35 divided by 7 is 5. And I want 7 as the denominator because I want to match it up to the denominator on that side. So if I add 35/7 to 4/7, what does that give me? Okay, good. Gives me 39/7. Okay, now what I want to do is I also want to graph this. Now we could use what we just got right there, but actually the easier way I think is just to go back to those original 2 points. So let's go back and plot those 2 points real quick. We'll draw our line through it, and then we'll have our line. Okay, so 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 4, 5. And now I'm going to plot negative 3, 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 4, 5, and negative 3, 6. I'm going to draw my line through that. So it should look something like that. Now, what I want to do real quick is I want to see if what I graphed here doesn't match what I've finished up with here. Okay, so let's think about it. What does this number right here tell me?
Down 1 over 7.
So in other words, this is the what?
Slope.
This is the slope. So what does negative 1 over 7 do?
Go down 1.
Down 1, 7 right. So let me see if that matches up to what I've got here. So if I start here and go down 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, does that match?
Yes.
Yep, so that part of it looks good. Whoops. Come on. Then the other part is this thing right here. What is that?
The y-intercept.
The y-intercept. Type that in your calculator real quick and just get a decimal on that. What is 39 divided by 7? Okay, so about 5.57. So again, what is this number? The y-intercept. That's where it crosses the y. So let me see. Does that match to what's going on here?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's a little bit over 5.5. I said it's 5.57, so that looks exactly right. That's good. Okay. So what I want to do is look at that second graph, and this has nothing to do with number 3 or 4 here. We're good on that, okay? But I want to talk about something here. So what I want you to do on the y-axis is I want you to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and put a point right there on the y-axis.
The fourth one?
Just on this second grid right here. And again, this has nothing to do with number 3 or number 4. This is something totally different here. Okay, so go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put a dot right there. Then what I want you to do is to draw a horizontal line that goes right through that point. Okay, so what is the equation for that line? Y equals, okay, what's the slope of this line? 0. Y equals 0x plus 5. Which, okay, 0 times anything is what? 0. So it doesn't matter what x is. That term right there is going to go to 0, right? So really, if I take that out, what would it be?
Y equals 0. 5.
Y equals 5. Because this part right here, with 0 being there, that's just going to 0 out. And so it's always just going to be y equals positive 5. So the equation for this line is y equals 5. And the reason for it is this. Everywhere along this line, it doesn't matter where I'm at along that line, the y value of that point that I choose, the y value will be 5. So it doesn't matter if I'm right here. This is 4, 5. Okay? Right here, this is negative 1, 5. This is negative 3, 5. This is negative 5, 5, or whatever. It doesn't matter where I go. Along this line, the y value will always be 5. Okay? What I want you to do now is 1, 2, 3, 4. On the x-axis, I want you to go to negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put a point right there. And what I want you to do is to draw a vertical line through that point. Okay, so what is the equation for this line? X equals negative 4. Okay, I understand that this can be confusing, okay, because all right, the y-axis we know is a vertical axis. But whenever it's a horizontal line like this, it's y equals something. But I showed you why that's true right here. Okay? Then the x-axis we know is a horizontal axis, but whenever it's x equals something, it's going to be a vertical line. Okay? And so I'm just showing you that just so you'll know. Okay? On this one, so what type of slope does this line have? It's undefined, right? This one has 0 slope. This one has undefined slope. But then that way, whenever you're working out some of these today, you'll see some of them are going to be horizontal lines, some will be vertical lines. And if it's a vertical line, it's always going to be x equals whatever x value it goes through. If it's horizontal, yeah, it's y equals whatever y value it goes through. Real quick, let me show you. There's several things going on here. So let me show you what I want on this. Okay, so on the first group, all you're doing is converting it to slope intercept. So let's just work this one out real quick. So on this one, we're going to have y minus 4 equals what? 3x minus 6. Okay? Then what do we do?
Plus 4.
Add 4 to both sides. And so we get y equals
Plus 2x.
y equals 3x minus 2. So that's all you're doing on this first group is just, all these are in, well, most of them are in point slope, so you're just going to convert it into slope intercept like that. Okay? On the next group down here, it says just to put it into point slope. So this one's easy. So we've already got a point and a slope. So on number 10, what's that going to look like?
Y minus 1 equals
0
3.
parentheses x minus 2.
Okay? That's all you're doing on that.
Oh, fruit.
Yep. Okay?
Back on the other hand.
So on the front, it's really like stuff we did last week. So the back is like what we just got through doing. So let me just list out the steps of what you're going to do here for these on this side. So it's just like what we did. Number 1, you're going to find the slope between those 2 points. Number 2, you're going to take that slope in one of the points and put it into point slope form. And then finally, for the third step, you're going to convert that into the slope intercept form. So that'll be the steps for each one of those. Find the slope first, put it in a point slope, then convert to slope intercept. And then on these last ones here, so like on number 28, it says graph number 3. So what you're going to do is go back to problem number 3, and you're going to graph that equation from problem number 3. Number 29, you're graphing problem number 7. Number 30, you're graphing problem number 10. And you can see what's going on there. Okay?